Does the Emerald Dream belong to the old gods? Pyro speculates with Chad. Interesting. How would the Emerald Dream... I guess let's watch and see what he has to say.
Chronicles are written from the perspective of Titans, so it's a bunch of lies and propaganda. I would not necessarily say that that has to be true. I think in the eyes of someone who does not see it from the perspective of the Titans, it is lies and propaganda. And I do believe some of it is, but that doesn't mean that there is no truth. I think it would be foolish to assume that all of it is lies. I think that, as I've said before, the best lies are often riddled with truth.
Yeah.
They're hidden, they have a little hint of truth in there normally.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you gotta sprinkle a little bit of truth in there. Trust me, as somebody who's married, you gotta sprinkle a little bit of truth in there to make it believable. If the entire thing's a lie, it's gonna be easy to catch. You gotta add a tiny bit of truth to just add that tiny bit of validity to your lie, right?
Usually there's something, especially with the Titans, that kind of tips you off to make you think,
Probably 540
like when they
minimum.
call themselves, when Chronicles
440.
says that the Titans and their keepers are inherently benevolent. Yeah,
not true.
That's one of those lines that makes you go, I don't think that's true. But then there is other things in there that I think are true. It's WoW lore that changes every expansion? Well, I disagree. I don't really think so. I think that Shadowlands janked up some of the lore that probably didn't need to be kind of fucked with, and opened some doors to some things that maybe don't need to be explored.
Yeah.
But I don't really...
The whole first ones, all that shit, kind of annoying lore that I didn't really care for. And screwing up the Lich King's lore, I feel like they just used the Lich King to try to pull people back in. Like, they couldn't figure out what to do with the jailer. They're like, let's attach him to the Lich King, because that'll make people like him. Oh, God.
I agree that WoW
so much for that.
Every expansion. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, they fucked over our boy Arthas, exactly.
Benevolent? Yeah, Odin said the same shit. Oh, oh divine, Odin with his inherently benevolent odes. Who would say that about themselves unironically? The Titans. I mean, one of the premises of them is I do think that to a degree that they're arrogant, and maybe that's a mortal perception, and maybe that arrogance is rooted in something different, and I perceive it as arrogance. But the way that they tried to paint Sargeras as being like very emotional and like very in his thoughts and like kind of
his
a
feelings.
deep thinker, it's just strange. It's just strange how they kind of contrast to the way that they describe him. I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird.
So if we consider Titans,
look, I mean, Sargeras is not. There's the whole meme like Sargeras did nothing wrong, Garrosh did nothing wrong, Deathwing did nothing, whatever. You fucking insert evil character here and then finish out with did nothing wrong. That's like a WoW meme. Like everybody says that kind of shit. But honestly, Sargeras, like looking back, we're still trying to figure out what his plan was to put the tip of his sword into the planet. I personally now think that he wasn't trying to kill Azeroth. He was trying to free her. That's what I think. Because the Titans have in fact imprisoned her. They're not waiting for her to hatch. She's ready to go, but they've imprisoned her because they are afraid of what she is. And that's why I think Sargeras was just like, you know what? I'm going to poke this thing and free her. He didn't do it. He wasn't able to finish his plan. But I do think while he is insane and he has destroyed entire planets, I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm just saying, like, the way he was thinking wasn't necessarily wrong. It was just, what he tried to do was wrong. It's like purging a city. Not necessarily bad. Maybe the means weren't necessarily the right way to get to your ends, but his end was justified, if that makes sense.
Does it mean the first ones crafted them? I mean, potentially. Depends on what the first ones are. I'm fine with the first ones being a thing if the first
Azeroth
ones
is a
get
prison.
tied
Yeah,
back
exactly.
To...
Sylvanas said it in the cinematic. It's a prison, and that's what it is. It is, in fact, a prison. The
Azeroth.
Titans are using it to imprison her.
If it has nothing to do with Azeroth, I don't think that that's necessarily a good play. Kind of seems like, I don't know, you'd want Azeroth to maybe be like the big thing.
I've been questioning if Azeroth's even a Titan. Honestly, I don't know if she is. She's either the most powerful Titan ever, or she's something else that's more powerful than a Titan. Like, we know that I would say, like, the Titans are kind of comparable to the old gods, although they're typically more powerful than them. Like, the Titans can, like, just slash a planet in half, whereas we haven't seen an old god with that kind of power. But then you got the Void Lords, who are, like, maybe more powerful than the Titans. We haven't really seen the Void Lords yet, right? We don't know what they are. We know that they sent out the old gods, they just literally, the old gods are just shot out from the Void Lords into space. And then they happen to, like, land on planets, right? Like, that's how they work. That's how the old gods work. The Void Lords themselves, we've never seen one fight a Titan. We don't know if they're, like, exponentially more powerful than the Titans. And if they are, you would need something more powerful than them to fight them, right? That's what Azeroth probably is. That's why I'm not sure if she's a Titan or not. She could be like a Light Lord or something, if that makes sense.
A certain moon goddess found in the new zone. I've read some of them. I think I might have read what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm right, Cadence. I'm right about the prison thing. I'm confident about that.
Sepulchre of the first ones. What can you say about this? I haven't done Sepulchre, but I looked at it. I think that's the one. Is that the one where you see the
hardest raid ever?
Yeah, that's where you see the constructs of the first ones, and they're imbued with like light.
Yeah,
which is interesting. And it says that these constructs were abandoned. They weren't ever put into commission because
Come, let us lay waste to this realm.
What storyline is this? I'm new to Dragonflight. We're actually talking about a bunch of storylines that connect back to even Shadowlands, and really what he's getting into is we're doing the Emerald Dream now. We're in the Emerald Dream, and he's hinting at the fact that maybe the Emerald Dream is tied to the old gods in some way too. But I'm trying to figure that out.
Considered to be a little too extreme.
But right now we're in the Emerald Dream. We planted a new world tree. We replaced Darnassus. We brought the world tree from the Emerald Dream into our world, and that's like the current storyline of Dragonflight. That's what happened. Now we've gotten a new home for the Night Elves. Yay!
Gods are there, and how many cosmic forces are there? There are 6 cosmic forces, and there are 4 distinctly identifiable old gods.
Come, servant. We have a realm to destroy.
Yeah, Tap, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge.
I don't believe we have a name for. Could be Il'gynoth. But he seemed to be something lesser.
What if
talking to N'Zoth as though it were a
Azeroth is like an Anakin Skywalker, like a balancer of the forces of light and shadow, like she's both. And that's why they're afraid of her, because she's not all like, Titan. She's kind of she's both. I mean, she has been corrupted in essence, right? I mean, they were old gods here. Yogg-Saron had his tentacles in the planet for a long time. And so maybe she's both. Maybe she's like the balance of the forces. She's going to bring balance to the force. Who knows? And the Titans fear that shit because they don't want balance. They just want their way. Could be it too.
Idealizing N'Zoth or something. It was like lesser than it. Or part of N'Zoth even.
I know, the Gilneas retaking is going to be awesome.
Some might say Xalatath.
It's true, Cadence. We are creating a lot of our own speculative lore. But a lot of it's attached to what we've seen.
Because G'huun is the product of Titan experimentation. Which, to be fair, I have said that so are the other old gods, but it seems that the circumstances of its creation are different. Well, Jay, that line makes me think that the old gods might actually be the ones who are supposed to rule over the Emerald Dream and Nightmare.
What line? What?
Because the more I thought about it, HP Lovecraftian entities, many of them live in or exist in, or non-exist in, or come from the dream lands.
Right. That's
when
true.
They say our song, our dream, N'Zoth was able to tap into the dream while sleeping.
Our song, our dream.
Into the dream
He's
through
right.
World trees, get the nightmare out into reality through world trees. Why is all that connected? Why do they know how to get in and out of it?
I forgot N'Zoth
how do you
said
have that capability? Well, it could be because they're from there. And I'm starting to think that that's maybe where the old gods really truly came from. And maybe Eonar the Lifebinder overthrew the realm of life, spirit, and decay from the old gods, cast them out into reality, and essentially, like, that's where they came from, and basically took over the dream and shaped it with an organon to make it what she wants, so that they can try to use the dream to influence Azeroth in some capacity. I don't really think that the old gods are bad. I think that they're entities of incomprehensible nature that are
Oh,
to a
shit.
point
Hold
of
on, hold on,
existence
hold
now
on.
where they are basically just...
Hold on. I'm going to start this N'Zoth line right here because I think this is particularly relevant to what we're doing right now. This is essentially, I mean, we just planted a new world tree into our realm, right? Into our world. What does a world tree have? Roots. Yeah, and recently there was a line from Thrall and Jaina talking about how when the roots got into the world, that they heard the song of Azeroth. They heard Azeroth's voice. They don't know it's Azeroth yet. They're talking about a voice they're hearing, and it's clearly Azeroth because Thrall describes it as a song, which he also does in the new cinematic for The War Within. But listen to what N'Zoth says here. The world tree's roots, I'm sure, are growing at this point deeper into the planet.
Welcoming our embrace.
Shit, did we fuck up by bringing this world tree into our world? Like, is this all part of the old god's plan to reach deeper? Like, the world tree is going to bring them to us?
With many eyes, they will see again. They will drink and be uplifted.
Drink and be uplifted.
You will follow him to the deep places.
Hold on, we are going to deep places. I mean, literally, the new expansion, The War Within, has been described as a vertical expansion, right? We're not getting new lands in terms of like a new island where it's very, horizontal. They've described the new zones as vertical. We are going deeper into the planet. Who is him? Maybe it's Anduin. We're following Anduin into deep places. This all sounds like very relevant to the shit that we're dealing with right now.
The dark waters will flow in his wake.
I don't know what that could be about.
Her dreams sing beneath the surface.
Her dreams sing beneath the surface. Again, Azeroth's voice has been described by Thrall and many others as a song. It sounds like a song. The only one who hasn't described it that way is what's her name? The freaking the knight, the high elf chick. Oh my God, she's freaking Sylvanas' sister, Illyria. Illyria has said that she doesn't hear it as a song; she hears it as like something else. Yeah.
Our dream.
Our dreams.
Our song.
Our song. Shit, could the Emerald Dream just be like part of their shit? Is it from them? He's calling it our dreams. Oh God, we're going into the rabbit hole here.
Amalgamations of decay and suffering. Now, if that means that the void, as a
Remember
product
the old
of the
god
light,
blood
can leverage.
In the Nerubian Kingdom in the War Within that they said in BlizzCon. Is that what he's referring to when he said drink? Oh, the old god blood. Maybe. Could be. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we drank old god blood, right? I mean, that's why orcs are green. Well, that was demon blood, actually, so I take that back. But yeah, drinking blood, that's happened before in this game.
Their power and potentially also get into the dream. If the dream is meant as a mechanism or can be used as a mechanism to copy something into Azeroth's reality, then, I don't know, the void working with the old gods would make sense, but it also could mean that the old gods aren't inherently born of the void. That they do work together and in some capacity can communicate with one another, but are not necessarily of the same essence. That is to say that our belief that the wild gods, which are unnatural, by the way, the wild gods were entities of nature crafted by Freya, who is a descendant of Aenar, of course.
Right.
They're not natural. They were bound to the dream by a Titan Keeper. So when you think about that, the wild gods are not the natural gods of the dream. They were essentially connected to it by someone else.
So if the old gods are from the dream, kind of like Lovecraftian, by the way, is this old, if you've never read Lovecraftian books, it's essentially the old gods. I mean, that's what it talks about, is entities like that coming from a dream. So if the old gods come from the dream, and we just planted a tree on our plane of existence, right? So we've essentially anchored the dream now to our existence. And this anchor is getting deeper and deeper into our planet. Is that what's bringing the old gods to us? Is that what, I mean, and we, the whole time we've called Zalatesh the Harbinger. She's essentially the Harbinger, she brings the old gods to us. Has she been planning this all along? Is this part of her thing, is to kind of let us bring this tree into the world? Maybe.
What does that say about the dream then?
We've anchored the dream into our world.
It implies that maybe that's where the old gods come from. That they're supposed to be the rulers of the dream. And that maybe their realm was usurped from them by the Titans and they were forced into reality, into prisons that, they were supposed to stay in forever.
Shit.
So they try to claim, so let me say something. They claim that the old gods were there before the Titans ever were.
Right.
If we have to assume that that is true, then that changes things. But
what would that make the nightmare, though?
Because here's the deal. If the dream is a different realm...
Sorry, I said harbinger. Yes, harbinger.
Let's think for a second.
I was thinking of the definition and the word at the same time, yes.
What if the dream is not...
a bringer.
A naturally...
harbinger.
While I do think that Azeroth is the progenitor of everything, and I think in a sense she is connected to... she's almost in a sense responsible maybe for the existence of the dream, but also all the other realms. I think that, if the Emerald Dream is the realm of spirit and life and nature, and it's separate, like the Shadowlands was, then I don't think that it necessarily has to be inherently something born of Azeroth. I think the dream is something probably connected to Azeroth. I don't necessarily think it comes from her. It could. She could basically be dreaming the realm of life into existence. But I think that the more that we learn about the life pantheon, waking up, the more it kind of seems like, she's just in a prison. And they've essentially stolen, maybe they stole the dream from the old gods so that they could use it as a pacification method for Azeroth. I mean, in a sense...
they're keeping her dreaming. Yeah, I mean, they're keeping her in a stasis, right? She's in a prison. Maybe that's what maybe he's right. Maybe they're using the dream to keep her asleep, essentially.
It says that Azeroth absorbed most of the spirit on the planet, which is what kept the, which is what sent the elements into disarray. Sent them into chaos because there wasn't any spirit because Azeroth absorbed it. Well... we know that spirit is spirit of life, something that inundates every corner of the dream. So, the implication there, maybe what they call nightmare is the original version of the dream. Let me ask you something. What is so horrific about the nightmare? Is it because it's red? I went back.
It's not that scary. I mean, the nightmare is not this horrible thing. The Maw was worse than the nightmare. I mean, shit, you'd fucking die if you spent too much time there. The nightmare, you could be there all day, nothing will happen. That's it.
To Val Shirah, and besides the creepy pustules on the tree, I'm looking around and I'm like, it's just red plants. It's just it's just probably the torture and visions and tentacles. Well, a lot of that was because of fucking Xavius and N'Zoth.
Yeah, Xavius fucking around. Thing.
But the dream seems essentially to be the essence of decay. Because it's the opposite of the dream. It's not life and beauty, it's void and darkness. No, I don't agree with that. It's not opposite. It's the underlying truth. Is what the nightmare is.
It's the it's the original version.
That decay underneath. It's not antithetical. It's part of the same thing.
Well, what does decay lead to? Renewal, right? I mean, this is just like a law of nature. Like things decay, and from that decay is like a renewal, regrowth. So maybe it is the underlying thing. Maybe it's that soil from which things grow. This is really
same premise
speculative,
of the argument that I make between the light and the void. They're not antithetical to one another, even though they appear to be in nature. It's not true. They're two sides of the same coin. So when you look at the dream, it's scary and it's something that people
can't have life without decay.
Or look at the nightmare. It's scary and something that people like get freaked out by. But when you, I hate to say this, but like when you read the descriptions in books and short stories, and even some quest dialogue in the game, being stuck just in the dream, it doesn't even have to be the nightmare. The dream itself is kind of maddening and freaky. It's not a place where mortal minds are meant to wander. Let me put it that way.
Right, yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, just looking at the, what's it called, Planes of Existence map here. I mean, we talked about the dream and the nightmare, talking about them as one is life, one is decay. I mean, decay and Earth are directly attached here. By Earth, I think they mean Azeroth, not Earth is... Oh, Earth is the element? Okay. Yeah, decay and Earth are directly attached. Undead, the Titans... I'm trying to think, like, how this all relates. But if we describe the dream, the Emerald Nightmare, as the decaying version of the dream, I guess it fits in here. But the Emerald Dream is here. So how would these be attached? Oh, Jesus, this is complete fuckery. Wild Gods, Emerald Dream, Undead, Decay, Nightmare, Shadowlands. God, delete that. I'll make a connection at some point here. I'll figure it out.
And that also makes
Azeroth
me think
is the
that
reality.
it is a realm
Yes,
that
I
is
agree with that.
inherently maybe a little more tied to something else that's maddening, or, you know, a little bit wondrous or beyond mortal
Shadowlands give
comprehension.
me PTSD, yes.
Cough, cough, old gods. So we'll see. We'll see. And like I said, they know how to get into it. Yogg-Saron is the one that broke into the dream, for the record. The
True.
nightmare's essence starting to spread is allegedly the direct result of Yogg-Saron, not N'Zoth. For those who don't know that, N'Zoth was granted access later by Yogg-Saron, but Yogg-Saron's the first one who did it. So then, N'Zoth ends up also gaining access later. Il'gynoth gains access through the dream tree, or whatever tree it was.
That's the video you
The
said.
Ganir planet tree or whatever in Ungoro Crater that we've learned about. Like,
Yeah.
kind of seems like they know. Again, how do they know how to tap in and navigate through this shit? How can the old god's very essence alter the dream into the nightmare? Think about that. How do they even have that capacity?
Yeah, they clearly have access to it.
Old god? I don't know. I think we're more likely, if they wanted to make our character genuinely important, we were probably more likely connected with Azeroth.
Yeah, I agree.
That's probably the thing that makes our character like really important.
I think that's
But
what
I
makes our
also think
characters
that
very powerful. At the end of the day, like we're just like these little people that have been fighting off these cosmic forces now for years. And I think we're able to do that because we are connected to Azeroth in some way, a piece of Azeroth in some way, because again, Azeroth is the most powerful entity. I think that's essentially confirmed at this point, that there's something extremely powerful about Azeroth, and that's why everything is so drawn to it. That's why the Titans are so interested in it. And I think we get some power from her, or we are pieces of her in some way, shape, or form, and that's why we've been able to fight off like these forces that are way stronger than us, supposedly. Like if you look at how we've defeated all these people, they're always shocked by it. They're always like, the fuck? Like they expected just to flick us off of Azeroth like a booger, and somehow we defeat them. And they're always blown, like their mind is blown. Sargeras in particular was extremely shocked when we defeated him. And that shit keeps happening. It's because we are in some way connected to her, and we're getting our power from her.
In a sense, we are the product of the old gods.
They're scared
Like,
of
if you
her,
wanna look at
yes,
it this way,
but they're shocked by
Like,
us.
if flesh truly was something gifted to us by gods of spirit and nature and decay, like they literally did gift us mortality.
Yeah, and free will.
And like, I'm not gonna look at it as like a sinister thing anymore. They gifted us free will.
Yep.
Think about it. All the Titan constructs made out of stone and infused with powers like this that were inherently bent to the will of the Titans or the
Right,
Keepers.
and Crater there was a
They
world
got
tree there.
turned into beings that had free will. And not only that, could die. They essentially were released from eternal prison. So it's funny that they call it the curse of flesh, because it really is the gift of flesh, as we've heard it be referred to.
Very true.
I think Xalatath calls it that, as well as a couple other entities, but it seems kind of like maybe we've been fighting the wrong battles, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it's a crock day. I think there's some accuracy to it.
You. It's all about perspective. To one, it might be a curse. To another, it might be a gift. To those, look at it this way. To those who are robotic and follow very strict edicts and commands, it's a curse.
Right.
It also allows them to die. They're no longer immortal. They can't just be reconstructed. It would be a curse to be able to die. You would lose your immortality. The Night Elves felt a similar way.
I was about to say, the Night Elves were immortal, and then they gave up their immortality to save a world tree. So how would that be connected? I mean, the world tree was being killed by one of Sargeras's lackeys. So I mean, one of Sargeras's boys. So if he was trying to destroy a world tree, and the Night Elves gave up their immortality to save that world tree, oh god, it's like the old gods just keep making us immortal for some reason. I don't know, but doesn't mortality kind of make life worth living? Doesn't it make every moment better, more precious? If you're gonna live forever, there's nothing special anymore. You just do it tomorrow. Living for today only occurs when you're mortal. We're getting deep here.
Just look at what it did to them. Look at what it did to the aspects for a while. I mean, dragons aren't immortal, but the aspects are. And when they lost their immortality, they got a little depressed.
But are they now? They got their power from the world tree now, not from the Titans. Are they immortal again? I wonder. They're more powerful now,
like
but are
I
they
said,
immortal?
is not a good thing. That's what the light will bring us. That's what the light and the void and what the Titans will bring us. Like eternal suffering. Something that once you get trapped in it, you will never be able to escape.
Well, the light tried to heal Illidan, tried to get rid of his, I am my scars moment and all that shit, tried to essentially make him, less mortal, and he wasn't about it.
And that's what you should be terrified of. The things that bring us change, destruction, dismantling, those are the things that have truly been trying to set things right in the cosmos. So yeah, what I'm saying is that the Legion, though what they did was pretty fucked up, a decision had to be made. The old gods, even though some of the things they've done are fucked up, a decision had to be made. Something or someone has to dismantle what the Titans are doing.
Yeah.
And that's all they've been trying to do the entire fucking time, is literally dismantle this
anti-Titan, essentially.
Dismantle this eternal loop that everything is stuck in. Dismantle this plan of the Titans. It's pretty terrifying, dude, but it's pretty sick. I think it's pretty dope. Like the long-standing, overarching story.
Right, did Farak and the Druids of the Flame want the tree for
all
immortality?
All races before the Curse of Flesh were like original children of Azeroth of Spirit that weren't a construct before.
Velen's been taking a fucking break. Velen needs to get his shit together and get back here because, yeah, I agree. Where the hell is Velen and all this light shit? I think Velen's having like a not like a come to Jesus moment, come to the light moment. He's like walk away from the light moment. I don't know. His last big line was like when Illidan said like, oh, what about destiny or fate? Yeah, he goes like, what about your fate? And Velen's like, fate had nothing to do with it or something like that. Like it was in our hands this entire time. Velen's having like he's tripping out on his old beliefs. And I think he's starting to see the other side of things. But we haven't seen this entire expansion.
What if I dropped a bomb on you and said this? Xalatath isn't an old god, but she serves one.
Yeah, I don't think Xalatath's an old god.
And it's not N'Zoth.
She's a harbinger. She's the bringer of things. She's like a key. That's what I think. I don't think she's an old god.
Told you, dude. Elune was the fifth old god.
Oh, shit.
Would that fuck your mind up or what? She might serve Void Lords. Xalatath is a wild card. Elune could be the first one that wasn't corrupted.
Elune is an old god. Elune let all the night elves die in the tree to send all their souls to the afterlife, but they didn't go to the right place because the jailer was fucking shit up. Why would Elune do these things if she's an old god? I mean, Elune did let the night elves give up immortality, and we know now that old gods don't care for immortality. They want mortality, so that kind of makes sense. Oh, God.
I mean, at this point, I do think that there is a
she's a preview of things to come. Zalatash is the
terrifying amount of evidence to point to the idea that Elune is connected to the old gods and/or the void. It's pretty scary.
Whispers of Elune, whispers of the old gods.
That, in a sense, has access to, can pull things to and from the dream.
True. She does have access to the dream.
The nightmare. Huh. I mean, what if Elune actually was, like, a successful attempt at, like...
Elune is the Winter Queen's sister. Yes, that is true.
That'd be so fucked.
So that wouldn't make sense.
I'm just spitballing, guys. I don't... Look.
But the Winter Queen's sister in particular is somewhat connected to the dream. Everyone always said Ardenweald and the dream look very similar. If the old gods are from the dream and Elune's sister created a realm in the death realm that looks like the dream, then that would make sense. They'd both be fucking from the old god tree.
Huh. Don't take this stuff too serious. But... I don't think we have a lot of allies. Elune could be one of them. I think there's also a chance that Elune might be, like, forced to do things on behalf of A&R the Lifebinder. I think Elune...
She does reside in the tree. Yeah.
I essentially think that Elune is some type of conduit of power, as we've been shown, which can pacify and cleanse the dream. Maybe something to do with spirit itself. Maybe there is like a titan or entity that is associated with spirit that is separate from A&R the Life.
I would think Elune's grasp on our world is getting stronger now that we have another world tree.
That is different.
The roots are getting deeper. We talked about that stuff.
Not aware of.
Maybe she has something to do with it.
Kind of seems like what the Titans have done with the dream, and how Elune can cleanse it has effectively, through what's happened with Ysera, helped protect
Elune will probably appear in Wild Midnight. I agree. She probably will. Yep, reuniting of the elves and all that shit's gonna happen in Midnight. That is in fact confirmed. Interesting stuff. When I first started the video, I wasn't convinced, but then when we listened to the N'Zoth voice lines, that flipped me. Honestly. Very interesting. N'Zoth is definitely not dead. I would hope not. I think that's a very shitty way for him to die, the way we killed him. I hope, as the ultimate planner, and him knowing that he was going to die, because that's confirmed. He knew he was going to die. We went back in time and showed it to him in the beginning of Dragonflight. I would hope he had a better plan than what he eventually did. You know, was just let himself die. Come on. He's the ultimate planner. He should have planned better. But WoW Dev said he's dead. I know. I know they did. And we're supposed to think he's dead. That's part of his plan. He wants us to believe he's dead. That's all part of the plan.